Well, welcome back, and we're in the studio, and John Hardy has joined us once again from the John Hardy Show. How are you, John?
I'm great. Life is wonderful, Michael.
Amazing,
it really is
isn't it?
great.
But do you find it's going past quicker and quicker?
It kind of does, but it's almost like you're living life. It's full and rich,
Yeah.
and it's another new exciting day. And I'm loving that fact. And I moved to the kind of outer skirts of our city,
Right.
and I thought that would be a problem because I liked going home and stuff, But
Yeah.
I'm on the road now. I'm out all day, and I'm absolutely loving it. What I'm doing and how I'm engaging with my clients, with my work, and it's just great.
Do you find that in working, you're engaging with clients, that they're saying to you, look, it's a faster paced world and we need strategies and techniques to deal with this quicker pace that things are happening at?
Oh, absolutely. It's at times it overwhelms people.
Right.
They are doing all their stuff, and they're seeing there's a flood of stuff actually coming at them, and they struggle at times to know how they can actually cope and what they should actually do with that. And so it's like I often will do with my clients, engage them in actually understanding time.
Right.
We know there's 24 hours in every day. We know
Yeah.
there's 365 days in every year. There's 168 hours in a week. But it seems to rush at them and overwhelm them. And I'm often helping my clients understand what's going in their world about time and how to actually let the story of their life unfold and then analyze that question. So I have a really simple tool where they just write down what's the story of their day,
Yeah.
of their week, over 2 or 3 weeks, and then we do some analysis. And there's some analysis tools built into the tool I give them, and then we begin to describe the story.
Right,
We begin
okay.
to reflect on where they should do it, how they should do it, go about doing it, and it really is really quite powerful that we then don't let time dictate terms. We actually know what we're going to do with the time we have and make it to our advantage. Because oftentimes it really is the old adage, the tail is wagging the dog, and people get overwhelmed. But once they get a feel of confidence that, yeah, I know what I'm doing, I know where I need to apply myself. I was talking to a guy this morning, and he talked about the waterfall effect. And I love that because that's
okay.
really powerful. And it's very simply my 90, 60, 30-day strategy.
Yes.
So you've got your 90 days as the top of the waterfall, and then you're looking at your 60 days, the mid-range, and then you're looking at the 30 days, what's actually happening right now.
Right now.
And it really is cool, and it's great language to work on and know that that's my waterfall, that I can see the big picture and I can see right down to what I should be doing today. And it really is cool. And I was telling him today, I said, you're doing great. And he was really down on himself, feeling like he wasn't really accomplishing, he wasn't really on top of his game. But when he told me all that he was doing, mate, fantastic. So the time issue and the rushing, when you understand your space and live in it, so you are controlling it to a degree, because there's some things you can't control, but most of the things we can, then you can relax much easier into that. And at the end of the day, you can push your feet up and relax and enjoy company and enjoy the fruitfulness you've engaged with that day. And it's just great. I love life.
Yes.
And there's ways of actually enjoying it, and it's rich and full, and not letting it overwhelm you. And it's this, Michael, sorry to interrupt. It really is this. It's the language that you speak internally that you battle with the most.
Okay. Going on to time.
Yes.
So the language you speak internally. Does this delay, is this why we procrastinate on decisions?
Oh, absolutely. The conversations we have that go on in our brains, that we put off the hard things or even sometimes the easy things, we're having this conversation all the time. So I'm speaking at about 300 to 400 words a minute.
Right.
But people listening to this are thinking at anywhere between 1,200 to 3,000 words a minute. So they're hearing me, but all this other stuff is going on in their head about what's going on in life. So they're thinking about the plans they've got to do, or the job they've not followed through, or the staff member they've got to follow up, or the stakeholder they've got to find a solution to, or an order they've got to put in, and all of that stuff is going on right now as people are listening to this, both on radio and on video and on our TV show.
Yes.
But they're thinking at that pace.
Yeah.
And so it can be quite overwhelming when we're challenging that space and giving somebody stop and think. I still remember this illustration that a school principal was retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And a nice party for them to say, hey, farewell. And one of the aspiring principals asked this retiring principal, what have you learned that you would help me with in how I move forward in my career? 2 things. Communicate well and continually, and stop and give yourself permission and time to think.
Right.
We don't do that enough.
Yeah.
I really enjoy, and I'm looking forward to this coming Monday where I'll be in my office. And my goal that day is to stop and think about my business. What's going on? And I've got CRM I'm working on. I've got a website I'm working with a colleague to rebuild. I've got an online strategy about what's going on. I've got a web guy I'm working with about that. So I've got a number of things I want to think about my business. I'm going to give myself time to actually engage in that process. And it's taking that time and giving myself permission. So I'm writing that into my diary. That's my time for my business. And it's really, really powerful.
When you've done something like this, and a lot of questions when it comes up to time and it comes up to decision making and people procrastinate, we've talked about this because of the internal language going on within us. Is it when you take this time out that people say, well, it's just costing you time? It's actually the opposite. Once you get that clarity, is this what speeds up your decision-making process as you move through the day that frees up so much more time for you?
Absolutely, because what you're doing is, it really is the tail wagging the dog. You're letting the dictates of life tell you what to do. So the quadrant dynamic. So we've got urgent and important, and they sit in various quadrants.
Yeah.
We want to sit in quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is where it's important and not urgent.
Right.
Sometimes we need to sit in quadrant 4, where it's both important and urgent. But sometimes we sit in quadrant 1, 2, 3, and that's where it's not important and not urgent. That's where we procrastinate.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes we sit in quadrant 1, where it's everything is urgent and it's not important. And we drive ourselves crazy because we're trying to run at that pace. I remember doing one of my projects with one of my clients where we got them to do the priority log. And in there is it high, medium, or low is one of the measures.
Yeah.
Everything was high. Everything, every day was high.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about my priority log. Yeah, that's very high. That's very high.
So, to live at that intensity is going to give you a breakdown because we can't live at that intensity. Okay. You can only live at intensities for a certain period of time. So like the sprinter, they will train, but then the opportunity to sprint over 100 meters is for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, they're done for. And they need time to recuperate so can then maybe run the next heat, run the final. And so we can only do it for a very short period of time, intensity.
Yeah.
Because it really will not be good for your system. It's like we have 7 days.
Yeah.
One of those days was actually designed for us to stop.
Yeah.
It's called the Sabbath. If you know anything about Jewish culture, they stop from 6 p.m. Friday night to 6 p.m. Saturday night. It's their Sabbath of rest. They don't cook, they don't eat. It's about family. Everything's prepared so they can enjoy the day. And we were designed to actually stop, not to run 7 days.
Yes.
So it's part of the design of nature and the Creator giving that to us to actually, hey guys, Stop!
It's a bit of a cycle.
So the pace that we actually travel at is detrimental to us,
Right.
and hurts us. And so when we stop and think, give ourselves permission, when we then are engaged and we are then working on our projects or our engagement or our staff, it really can happen fairly quickly,
Yeah.
and we can make decisions much quicker. And what we don't realize is, I do this on people coming into buildings. Within 7 seconds, people have decided whether they like you or don't like you when they first drive onto your property. 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Within 30 seconds, they're either going to buy or not buy. And they still might come into the store, but they've already decided. And it's the way the building is presented. It's the way they interact with staff, what they see visually. We decide very quickly, and we don't recognize that in the dynamic of engaging with people, that if we make it easy for them, they've already decided how much they want to spend with us, how much they will engage with us. So if it's open and warm and friendly and it's clear and they understand what's going on, we've made it an engaging environment, we actually do make decisions quickly. Because that's the way we're wired.
So when we're talking about this, and we know customers make decisions quickly, sometimes they make them slowly, other times, they ponder and we think, why can't you just buy the thing off us, sign the contract? But when we look at the business owner themselves, they pride themselves, a lot of business owners, I can make decisions like this. But is that always a good thing? Is there times when they, like you're saying, high priority, mid priority, low priority, is there things that we should say, well, hold on, yes, those are things you need to be snappy about because you need to run in that autocratic manner. But there's other things that you need to just pause and say, actually, no, I don't need to make this decision all by myself or instantly. I can involve other people. And how do we learn that? Obviously, when you're in the room, it's easier.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
How do people start to recognize that, hold on, this should be a bit of a rhythm, so I get a rest and a break? Even a singer takes a break, don't they, when they sing?
They do. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
What we don't understand is we overthink, we overanalyze, we overconstruct, we overcomplicate, and we make it bigger than Ben-Hur. And if you want to watch that movie, I think they're remaking it. And so we think that that it's far more complicated than what it really is. And so decision making is quite interesting when we start to learn to make decisions quickly, because we are wired to make decisions quickly. The case in point of people coming onto properties of whatever shape, size or kind or organizations. We're already in that space. And it's when I do profiling. I tell people when they do the profile, one I use particularly, it's quite a complex one, but it only takes 20 minutes. There's 8 sets of questions with 8 sets of questions in it. Then there's another 8 set of questions with 8 set of questions in it. That's it.
That's it.
But it's incredibly enriching and powerful. And I say, what you think, answer that straight away. Don't overthink it, because we're drawing that from the very forefront of our brain, and we engage quickly. And we don't realize how powerful our brain is. We overcomplicate, overthink, overanalyze, and yet I can make a decision. It's like quiz shows. I sit and watch quiz shows. I can tell you the answer. It almost comes straight away. If it doesn't come straight away, I don't know the answer. The answer is there.
Yeah.
Because the information is in us, and my computer is working rapidly to pull the answer out for me and to tell me what's going on. And so deciding quickly will actually resolve so many more problems that you think you're imagining you're going to have, but you're going to have more problems by deciding slower than actually deciding quicker. And I challenge businesses today, give yourself an exercise tomorrow as you think about this. Tomorrow when you come into your business is start making decisions quickly and watch what happens to you and those around you. You're releasing yourself, and you're actually then enabling your staff to actually do their business quicker.
So how do you engage your staff or teach your staff to think quicker or to make decisions quicker? is it, and I hate to say this phrase, but is it monkey see, monkey do? If you start doing this,
Yes.
I know that might make you chuckle.
Yes.
That they go, okay, I'll learn by watching, or is there techniques to help them along the way?
Right. So this is all about modeling. What leaders don't understand is you do two things as a leader. You set the culture and you influence the direction of what's going to happen for your organization. So when you learn how to decide quickly and your staff see that you do that and say, hey, what I want you to do today is we're going to practice making decisions quickly, watch what happens, give them permission. Here's what we don't realize. When we make decisions quickly, we give more permission to fail forward. And it's really powerful to let people learn how to make mistakes. It's like our children. You know, I have a grandson. He's now 14, 15 months old. But when he was about 10 months to 12 months, it was like I'm crawling, but I'm pulling myself up.
Yes.
What did the parents do? They just let him continue to pull himself up, and he would flop down on his bottom. And, you know, occasionally there'd be a bit of a cry, but most of the time it would be okay. Yeah. And so then he would start to kind of pull up and try to walk. And most of the time, they don't fall on their face.
No.
They fall on their bottom, or they fall sideways, or and we've got plenty of soft toys around them anyway, and cushions and all those kind of things, and carpet.
Yeah.
And so we allow our children to fall forward. He's now learning to speak. But what's coming out of him is gobbledygook, you know, and we're having a conversation with him. He thinks he's having a conversation with us, but in reality, I haven't got a clue what he's talking about. But letting him do it and deciding it's okay, and occasionally it will come out with a word that is understandable, like dada. He says that a lot. He hasn't said papa at all yet, or
Most
pop.
disappointing.
It is, absolutely, and I repeat it over and over again. But hey, you know, we allow them and we give space to not only decide to do that and, you know, wander around and walk around and play with this and do that, and they're deciding fairly quickly. Yeah. And yet we then want to control that, and controlling doesn't release people to flourish. It actually limits people's ability to actually flourish and enjoy and watch them rise. And it's fascinating to see that. And I know an organization that does this really well. They're a fairly simple business, but they decide quickly. And they've allowed their staff to decide quickly, and everybody is flourishing. And this business is run by 21, 23-year-olds. And it's a flourishing business. It's an award-winning business. And the owner is away 6 months of the year.
Wow. A lot of business owners are going, pick me.
Absolutely, because they've got confidence to act.
Yes.
And when we don't decide quickly, we actually pull confidence away from ourselves.
Right.
We pull confidence away from our business, and we pull confidence away from our staff. So when we learn to decide quickly, it's a great space to do the less is more principle. We're not trying to overthink. Less is more. This is what I think we should do. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's act on that. Let's act on that intuition. So we're pulling out from inside of us that inventiveness and that intuition, and we're allowing that to flourish. We're allowing creativity to take place, and we're allowing our staff to actually be what we've employed them to be, is to run the business.
Because at the end of the day, we talk about things like thinking quickly and decision making. At the end of the day, we really want this because, and you say it quite eloquently, that we're in business to provide solutions for people.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I love that. I was talking to a gentleman just before I came here to do my radio show, and I was asking him about how he could engage other HR people to help him. And I said, when was the last time you talked to them? He said, oh, probably about a month ago. And then he started giving me all the reasons why he shouldn't be calling them. And I said, you're overthinking. We are solutions for people. And so I just encouraged him, be aware that they want you to help them, and they want you to help them be their solution provider. And they're looking for that because they're sitting at their desk and they can see all the problems in their business. And he's a HR guy, and they're thinking of this issue with that staff and this lack of training for that member, and this is where we want to develop our staff. And all he has to do is say, hey, I'm here. This is the training I can bring. How can I help you today? And so we are absolutely, and I'm using that because I just was there, half an hour ago with him talking about this very thing about taking too long to decide what to do, not following up quickly, a month, and not asking those questions, not looking for those opportunities. And then he's wondering why, is the economy slowing down? What's the economy like? Well, the economy is the economy. Yeah. I said to him, we're sitting in the cafe, it's half full. And I said, it's probably like that most of the day. There's transactions going on. You just got to figure out where those transactions are for you. And I said to him, I was in a business meeting this morning. I met a business owner, chatted with him about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. He liked what I had to say. He knew what coaching was. Yep. I left the meeting. He's gone to his office, and I have an email from him. John, let's meet. I think there's work that you can do within our business, and I think there's work that you can do with our clients.
Yeah.
I met for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Well, that's a pretty quick decision.
Absolutely. So, but he grilled me, in a respectful way, but he pushed into concepts and ideas that I have as a business coach, how about I go about doing it. And and we talked about money in those 5 minutes. So the whole thing, it was like, this is how coaching works. This is what I do. This is how much I charge. And he did the sums in his head. And I said, hey, you're doing the sums in your head? And he said, yes, I'm doing the sums in my head. I get how it works. Yeah. And away we go.
Do you think that, that's a really good example. And is that because, one, you make decisions quickly anyway, and obviously he was able to, but you empowered him to make the decision because you were able to explain how you deliver a solution to him and his business?
It took me 5 minutes. And I just told him what I was doing. He pushed back onto me. I answered his questions clearly, articulately. And he said, well, how much? I said, this is what I do. And he said, okay, I get it. So we don't realize in that process of time, there's lots of subliminal information being transacted that we're both picking up on. We're both picking up on body language. Yeah. We're both picking up on emphases. We're both picking up on other questions that are being asked and answered, even though we're not, and it's not just a blokes thing. How blokes kind of grunt at each other and they know what they're talking about, I am talking about all the subliminal other business questions that are being asked and posed, and we're both knowing what we're saying, understanding that. We're moving through the process very quickly, and he's decided, John, get in my room, have a meeting with me. There's work that we can actually do together. Wow. Hey, that's deciding quickly. And he said, I'm confident about my business. I know where it's going. I've got a growing business. And it was just really cool. So I've done that today. Yeah. And I will be going to my office, looking at my diary, making that appointment and going to see him. And I'm so excited.
I bet you are.
Absolutely. It's great fun. Life is so good.
As a business coach,
yes.
and you go in, what are the steps involved? Someone can be watching this now and they're in that stuck mode, I suppose, and go, I just need someone just to help me get past this. What's it like what process do you take when you go to work with a business to help them get to this stage of deciding quickly, be more confident in the decision making so they can start getting this momentum as you and your clients experience?
I think the number one is one we talked about recently, and that is the big C of confidence. So it's empowering leaders to be confident. Like I was just having a rapport relationship conversation with this gentleman who's in the pearl business, and they are beautiful, just beautiful. But his job is marketing.
Right.
Am I doing a good enough job in marketing the pearls for our business? And so we chatted about that for about half an hour. And he's now gone away with a strategy about marketing that he didn't have before. He's going to get some training on that and probably bring this expert into his studio and make sure he's got it set up right and go for it. Yeah. And he also understands that mate, if I had him as a client, I've just got to do some encouraging to believe in yourself.
Right.
That's what he needs.
Yes.
Believe in yourself. He's a great guy. He's got the principles in place. He knows how to operate, but it's just this self-belief, this lack of confidence. And this is why businesses don't make decisions quickly, is because they lack confidence. They lack this self-belief and this other language going on, the 1,500 to 3,000 words that we're thinking right now as I'm talking,
Yes.
that coming up with all the challenges that you have, and I know they're real, but I can tell you what, if you make a decision right now to change that choice of client that you want, fire that person you need to fire, talk to that stakeholder you need to engage with, plan the trip to China that you want to take and do it right now, I can tell you and guarantee your business will change dramatically over this next 30 days. And you will think, why didn't I do it sooner? Is what I hear all the time. I should have done that quicker. I needed to make that decision now. I had a client recently, I told him he needed to get rid of a staff member. He said, I wish I'd listened to you because I now have a problem that I've got to manage over time and that I've learned I need to decide quicker. And it's so cool. It's so exciting.
So exciting. So where you'll see beneath the screen there is how to contact John, because quite a few people will be saying, well, how do I contact ESL John? So we're going to have that under the thing. And your message for peak consultancy, I believe it's really, really important. It is climb the mountain and see the view.
Absolutely, because it's great fun. It's like I have a couple of colleagues that have actually gone to Mount Everest Base Camp.
Right.
And they've gone there, and that's what they wanted to do. They weren't old enough to actually climb the mountain.
Right. Okay.
But they climbed a fair way up the mountain to actually enjoy that experience.
Yeah.
And it's transformed their life. One of those bucket things that they did.
Yes.
And one of them didn't want to walk down, so he caught a helicopter out.
Oh, as you do.
Yeah. And the other one walked out. But they climbed that experience, and it was transcendent. And that's what, when I'm coaching with people, is helping them realize the transcendence of the conversation that we will do and where the levels we'll actually grow to. And I love people growing. Yes. And they realize I can do more, I can run faster, the business can be stronger, I can actually engage in this, I can do that. And the imagination rises, and it's so cool. So I thought long and hard about how I should encapsulate what I do. And so, yes, absolutely. Peak Consultancy is all about helping you climb your mountain so you can see the view that you have in front of you.